Hi, my name is Juan Estrella and I will explain the chapter 19. Perfect. Okay, so we will talk about the customer information that is electronically transported. Um, okay, so first of all, we need to understand that uh, email security now is very important. But what do you mean with what does we mean with the electronic email security? Well, refers to the collective measures used to secure the access and content of an email account of or service. It allows an individual or organization to protect the overall access to one or more email addresses accounts. An email service provider implements email security to secure subscriber email accounts and data from hackers, address, and in transit. So how we can just mitigate or we can have an email security? We can use a lot of brands, but the main that I want to tell a little bit is GNOPG. So what is GNOPG? PG is a hybrid encryption software program because it uses sorry it uses a combination of a conventional symmetric key cryptography for speed and public key cryptography for ease of secure key exchange, typically by using the recipient's public key to encrypt a session key which is only used once is only used once. This mode of operation is part of the OpenPGP standard and has been part of PGP from its first version. Uh, actually, there is two different kinds of emails services. We can just get the email from the email client or for the web email. We need to understand that both of them they have their own easy ways to be cracked by hackers. Um, the first example we want to talk about web emails. An example of web emails can be a Hotmail account or Gmail accounts that you know that you need to enter to the web browser and go to the Gmail account and put your password and put your username and password. So that's a web email. And in that web emails, we need to have is better to use HTTPS, that is the port 443. Sometimes we cannot realize what port we are in because everything is automatically or are processed by the routers or even the servers. So in order to be secure in the some email accounts, we can use SSL or TLS that are encrypted. We need to remember that authentication is very important. For example, authentication for server, it will be um, obviously you can check that it could be certificate, and the client, in order to be authenticated, we need to use the username, password, or even two factors that you can use a hard token. Uh, well, Now we can explain about the email account, what kind of protocols, ports, and authentication we need to use. So for example, there is some companies that they just want to give the employee the email account, and for companies who really doesn't care about the security, they usually use IMAP from the port 143 and the POP port 110. Both of them are not encrypted. And for other companies that are more concerned about security and they want to encrypt the information, they will use IMAP port 993 and POP3 port 995. About the authentication is usually as the web browsers and the server. We need obviously they need to be certificate usually, and the client is the same. Put their username, the password, and use a token from software or even for hard tokens. Uh, Okay, and the ports and protocols they can use, well, there is another ports that they can use. It could be an SMTP, a start TLS, and SMTP. As you can see, there is a number of ports, that 25 for this one, 587 for start TTLS, and 465 for SMTP. Authentication, well, I just put this one because we can use for the client authentication, we can use both authentication, Kerberos, GCC API, or TLS certificates. We won't tell much about the authentications because, as you can remember, we talked about authentications a few chapters ago. So if you want to know more about it, you can just go for the last chapters, and we already talked about identification. Finally, how you can just check, for example, if it's secure um, for example, your Gmail account or Hotmail account. You can go to these websites and type, for example, with the Qualys SSLI Labs, or another website that is check TLS. Actually, we can just check how they work. I already have one. For example, in this website that is Qualys SSL Labs, you can check, for example, gmail.com. We will check if they have certificates, and as you can see, they have certificates, and the grade is A. So they have the most one of the most powerful certificates from the server. And another website, for example, we can use, actually, for example, I want to use instead, well, you can use, for example, your Gmail account. Sorry. So I will use mine. We will run the test. We will wait a little bit because it is simulate as a console. Uh, Usually you need to have a Linux, but this is this simulate as a console. So as you can see, there is a lot of information that you can just get, and they give you the summary and result about how the Gmail account is. So as you can see, usually the web email are very strong from Gmail accounts, and everything are very secure. And if you want to check, for example, the connection, what the current connection is they are using, for example, SSL, or even you can just try to track about the certifications connected to the server. Uh, yes, I think. Okay, I cannot see more certificate. Oh, for example, you can just check one of the certificates they have, and if, as you can see, are validated. And perfect. I think, and for example, I want just to give the last example. Actually, for example, I want to just check my website. Okay, we will check the website. We need to wait a little bit, and I just want to show you that, for example, this website is they don't have a certificate. What does that mean, that it's not a certificate? So maybe there is some networks that, for example, in the college, if you are in the college and you want to type my website, it won't be possible to see my website because of the security reasons. So there is some networks like Confederation College that they don't want to allow you to go to my website because they are not they don't